And then if you click transfer points, that leads you straight to the website. You can also expand to see full details. So, hey, what if you don't have Amex, Capital One, Citi? Thank you, right? There's some other transfer partners that transfer to Life Miles, and we show you all of them and how much it costs. So the transfer ratio is already accounted for. The best example is Marriott Bonvoy, which is a 3-to-1 transfer. So it would cost you 480,000 points. Probably not worth it, unless you just stack up Marriott points.
Tim, can I ask you something? You said you made a comment a little earlier about Life Miles, not the greatest redemption. How do you determine, from your perspective, what is a good redemption for first class, or what is a good redemption for business class? Do you have do you have a gauge on what that number should be, or do you have a number in your head, or is it number of hours flown, or like how do you decide?
Yes. So I know Ben yourself and a bunch of others have points per hour flown. I like to just think of it roughly instead of going into calculations. How I think about it is for business class, international business class, that's not just Canada or Mexico, like truly cross-Pacific, transatlantic. I would think between 50,000 points to about 88,000 points. That's sort of the sweet spot, depending on the distance. For first class, that's going to range from about 70,000 to, I would say, maybe 100, 110,000 points max. And those are the rough ranges I think about as considered good deals. So that's the sort of rule of thumb I go with. Let me know if you guys have questions on that or want me to explain more.
Yeah, did you say 100? Around 70 to 100?
70 to 110.
110. Yeah, I'm thinking United's at that 110 mark.
Yeah, there's some 110 marks. Well, technically, if I really want to delve into it, I would expand it to 125 to include Cathay First Class from LAX to Hong Kong. That's the only possible way you're going to book that for that price because Cathay's not releasing their first class right now to their partners. They're not even releasing many business class to their partners.
And did you just add Cathay's Asia Mile recently? Is that a new development?
So we've actually had Cathay for quite a while since spring. I guess this is a good time to talk about the programs we cover. So we cover the 27 different programs here. You can always just use flights, drop down, you see. So I would call out Avianca. Unique programs we have that others don't. So we have this in both real time and cached broad search. Avianca Life Miles, BA, Cathay, and Singapore are the four big ones that we have that people care about.
I want to stop for a second. I just want to let everybody know, not all the other programs that are not Rome have Singapore and Cathay. I just want to make sure everybody's aware that a lot of the other programs do not search it or search it live or have that. So I just want to make sure everybody's aware. The second thing I want to make sure everybody's aware too, he's using the word cache. We're not saying CASH, we're using CACHE. So he's talking about a search that was done prior that they've saved, and so they'll pull it up to you so you can get to you easier and quicker. So cache is the opposite of a live search. Okay, I just want to make sure everybody understands what he's talking about. Okay, thank you.
No, thanks for explaining, Ben. I'm in the weeds too much. I'll go over why people would even want to use a saved or a flight found a few days ago in a little bit. But yeah, so program-wise, those four programs I would definitely call out. They have unique benefits in terms of
I
just
also want to make, can I also make one more observation? It's important that everybody realize. You see these airlines that he's showing here? This does not mean this is the only airlines that you can fly on. This is the airline mileage program. And so if Air Canada has, let's say, 50 partners, when you search this for Air Canada's Aeroplan, it'll pop up the 50 different airlines that they have. And if Air France has another 25, that means they're going to search all 25 airlines that Air France has. So really, when you look at this list, even though it says 27, it's not just 27. It's more like in the hundreds, right? Right, Tim?
it's about 200 plus if you counting airline specific, right? I'll show you an example. So we cover, you saw here, we cover Avianca Life Miles, right? This is Life Miles, but this is a flight on ANA. So you're using Life Miles points to book an ANA flight, so one of their partners.
And can you just take us through for those who are not familiar, Velocity, that's the Australian program. So I don't think the US base can access that, correct? I just want to clarify so in case they ask.
Yes, in case someone is asking, you may Virgin Australia currently does not allow people to create loyalty accounts unless they're based in Australia or New England or some kind of connection there, and no US-based credit card points can transfer there. Now, the next question you may ask is why do we even show it? The reason we show it is really for ANA first and ANA business class. Um, I'm not sure down a rabbit hole you want to go, Ben, but essentially you can book this ANA first class for a lot cheaper on Virgin Atlantic. But the problem is Virgin Atlantic doesn't show ANA on its website.
Okay.
So what people typically do is they do a backdoor method. Oh, they see it's available on Virgin Australia, so that tells them, hey, I can start calling Virgin Atlantic because they usually share the same availability.
Okay, that's huge. Okay, so everyone heard that. So what that means is if you have Virgin Atlantic Red or Virgin Atlantic Miles, you're gonna, instead of having you go on Velocity to do the search, Tim's program is gonna do the search for you, says, hey, we found it on A&A, and because Virgin Australia and Virgin Atlantic are under the same umbrella, you could be able to call up Virgin Atlantic and find the space available because he's already found it on Rome. So that's really super helpful, Tim. That's great.
Yeah, so this is our live search. I'll run a few other searches, but if you have uh, ones you like to see, just let me know. Let's see. Let's do New York to Paris, CDG. Let's just do upcoming just to see. So now I'm going to show we can search also live in real time across multiple dates. So now I'm going to turn on 7 days at a time, so plus 3 days either way.
Tim, is there an ideal time to search for flights? Like, should you be looking a year in advance or 2 weeks? I know, I mean, I preach it all the time. Book a year in advance and wait for schedule changes, or just wait until 2 weeks before. But a lot of time people don't do that, and they're in the middle of like, I'm 3 months out, I'm 4 months out. Is there any other sweet spot that people should look at, or what should they do in those cases as well before we
Yeah.
further?
So definitely been like your advice is spot on, right? Book it when you're out, when they just release it, or within 2 weeks of travel. Now I'm actually seeing within 1 week of travel.
Yeah.
But if you're 3 or 4 months out, hope is not lost. You would probably just have to set an alert because when you're 3 or 4 months out, you're waiting for that unicorn moment that someone either cancels their
Mhm.
existing flight or the airline decides to open up a lot more seats. And you're never going to know that when that moment happens because you're not going to you have jobs, right? Or you have stuff to do, family, kids, all of that, right? So that's why alerts come in. I can show you that now as
Let's
well.
do that. Let's do that now. Let's do that now because I think that's going to be a big one. I think that which is a big feature of the pro version, right? Is having the ability to set alert.
Yeah. So with Roam Pro, you can set alerts, and we run alerts the most frequently. Actually, people complain about getting too many alerts. So the thing you really have to be careful once you're Roam is you want to get alerts that you care about. So that means before you click create alert, make sure you select all the filters you care about, right? I typically like to go to Skyview to create alerts because that has all the filters done. You can select and mismatch all you want. But let's see, this first example, right? JFK to LHR. This is only 84% in economy. So you see that large gray bar and only 16 in economy, in business, which is the golden bar. You probably don't want to fly that, right? You want to fly at least 50%, if not 100% in business class, right? But you'll still be able to see these results just in case you choose. So how do we filter that out? You go to the premium mix and I want, let's just say I want not 80% of the entire itinerary to be in business or first class. So that's what it does. Now it filters out, you see there's no more of those economy gray bars, right? So now you just have a full golden bar, which is business nonstop, or you have first class plus a business class. So it's 100% now, premium mix. And you probably want nonstop. So let's go do that, right? And and this is where the pro version really comes in. Maybe you're just open to traveling whenever in July to Paris. So let's select 30 days at a time, right? And then let's start getting more fancy. I only want 100K, 90K points max, right? I'm going to show you some of the other filters later, but let's just use the three filters for now. All you have to do is click Create Alert, and it's created for you. And you can view alerts by clicking here, or you just click the alerts thing on top. I'm going to show you all the alerts I have, but basically, you scroll all the way down, and you see New York to Charles de Gaulle. We set it for nonstop, max points at 90, and premium mix at 80%. We also are about to release this, Ben, but you see it now. You see send text messages. So that's still in beta, but you'll be able to receive alerts both through email, iOS app notifications, and text. I would say text is limited though because it costs a lot of money to send text, but you can select that option up to a certain amount every single day. And that's it. We'll start sending you alerts. And how do alerts work? So once you save an alert, there's three ways you're going to get the alert. One, we run the alerts New York to Paris across those days for you pretty frequently, every few hours. So every 1 to 8 hours, depending on the route. You're also going to get alerts from what we do on Skyview. So Skyview, I think I did this out of order, but Skyview, every day we run searches on the top 6,500 routes, most popular routes, and we save them all down to make it easy for you to search and discover and explore available options, right? And the third option is you will receive alerts from anytime someone on live search makes a search that fits your criteria. You'll also receive that. So those are the three ways you'll receive alerts. I'll stop there to see if any questions because that was a lot of complexity there.
A quick question before we go into the questions. Starlix would show up for Alaska, right? If we were to do so that I just want to make sure we clarify that. And then,
Yes. So there's two ways of doing that. You
yeah,
can either go set loyalty programs to just Alaska. So let's pick Alaska and let's do United States to Starlux only flies to
Taipei.
Taipei. Um, okay, let's see if it's available. Okay, so there's some, right? And so that's one way to do it. Or you just can go to the airlines filter and select Starlux. So that's another way of doing it. But
Um,
probably a better example would be if I do East Asia, right? So that'll filter only for Starlux, and I get rid of the filter. You can see all the other East Asia uh, flights that we found.
Tim, if it's nonstop, I'm assuming then there would be no premium because it is nonstop, or how do you determine that? Where does that fall into play?
Yeah, so for nonstop, the premium percentage
Doesn't matter.
well, it doesn't matter because every stop would be at least 100%, right? Because you're searching a business first. It only comes into play when there's multiple stops.
And you can filter by credit card companies as well, banks, not just airlines.
Yes. So the filters, let's just go through all of them. You can filter by all the different credit card programs, all the different loyalty programs that we cover, the number of stops, the premium mix percentage you want, max fees, max points, airlines. You can even do airports. And the last one is aircraft.
Ooh. That's next week, everyone. Next week we have Kyle Olson coming. We're going to talk about aircraft next week, by the way.
So I'll get into how you can use, so these little filters, these three on the side, deceptively easy looking, but they will help you drill down to some of the super expert level type of flights that you want to find that I'll cover once we get onto Skyview.
Tim, by fees, do you mean like Ben was teaching that like British Airways has like super huge fees? That's what the fees mean on that
Yes.
filter? Okay.
So whatever you see down here, so 75,000
Oh yeah.
plus $18 in fees and
Okay.
taxes. This usually comes into play with British Airways and sometimes Virgin Atlantic.
Yep.
You'll folks, you will find that the US carriers have Very, very low fees, whereas the foreign carriers will pass those on to. So like the air, like American, United, Delta, they'll usually cover most of the fees. So that's where you usually find that the fees tend to,
Oh, you froze.
or you're using American miles, but you're flying on British Airways, the fees will still come into play. It's the only way you can avoid that London fee, London Heathrow fees, is to fly on American metal and use American miles. You have to do both.
Right. So
Tim, I have a question. There are so many other tools out there now, right? What makes Roam stand out, or is there any other features or ease of use? How do you plan to stand out among all the other tools that's out there?
yeah. No, great question. I think number one, ease of use, very familiar, very simple, but I think it's more of a deceptively simple. We're an expert tool as well. Number two, we cover just more programs that no one else has, right? So Ben went over some of them, right? I would call out Avianca, BA, Cathay, Singapore are probably the big four that we have both in real time live search as well as in cache that others don't have. And most people don't necessarily know this because the other tools don't advertise which programs they don't have, right? But some of the best deals actually come from BA specifically if you want to book Japan Airlines before anyone else, before even AA people get it, right? So if you want to fly to Asia, Cathay, Singapore, some of the top rated flights. So that's number two. And then number three, I would call out our alerts. We call them super alerts because we search so much on your behalf for super alerts. You're getting so much value. So oftentimes people on Rome will get the flight to Tokyo or the business class flight to what's another hard to get place? Usually Tokyo is the hardest, maybe Singapore before anyone else, because we're constantly searching for you. It's not that if you set alerts, you'll get one a day. If you set it and you like, if you set US to Europe, we'll send you within 10 minutes, like all the deals, right? So I really want to call out basically the programs we have and the alerts.
I can attest to the inundation of flight alerts. I Tim, I probably get more Rome flight alerts than anyone else. So listen, when he says make sure you put the filters in, if you don't put the filters, like you forgot to click off economy, they will send you every economy deal like known to man. So make sure you pick the things you really are important to you, and then they will send it to you. Okay? I just want to make sure.
And I would say this is like this is the best thing. You want this to happen, right? That you can be the one that filters down everything so that you only get the thing you want versus we're deciding, hey, we're only going to send you one alert a day kind of thing.
Josh, when you say a filter for a specific perk, I'm not sure, like, are you talking about like what's perk I guess we're looking for? I'm not sure if you can clarify, Josh. Okay. Um, I think there was a request to see if you could do New York to Bangkok. Could you,
Sure.
let's do that one.
Okay. I'll do it with
Sure. Whenever the next one, whatever the next one you're gonna
yeah,
do.
I'll just do a Skyview. So I'll discover. So we were doing live search before, which is when you click search, we'll search live in real time, right? And then we moved to Skyview, which is better for setting up alerts because you have the full filters to choose from. So why do we have Skyview? Why do we have cached or flights we found up to 4 days ago? The reason is with Skyview, you can search regions, you can search across multiple 30 days at a time. That's not possible with live search. So imagine if we're doing continental to Bangkok and we're doing 30 days at a time. I have an admin version, so I'll just show you. I can search more than that, but let's do continental US to Bangkok across a ton of months at the same time, right? So this is searching all the possibilities we have on Rome saved down. And you think we went through, we have 2,700 flights found, right? And that's in a database of hundreds of millions of flights. But these are some deals. You can filter however you want and sort however you want. I did last updated, but you can also do lowest points if you would prefer. And you can see this was found a day ago, this was found 8 hours ago.
I want to add something that I think is really important. When people who only fly economy start flying business, one thing they don't realize or recognize is that layovers are not a bad thing. I know when you're flying economy, you want to get there from point A to point B as quickly as humanly possible. If they can zap you, you want to be there. I totally understand that when you're flying at the back of the plane. But when you're flying at the front of the plane, I just want you guys to think, slow everything down. Slow it down. I want to have some lounge time. I'm gonna slow it. I'm like, the flight is fine. And if there's a connection, good. Get off, go walk around, go eat food on the ground, and then get back on the plane, and then they'll feed you again on there. I'm just trying to explain to you, everyone, when you're looking for flights, you may go, oh wow, there's so many, there's a connection. I wanted a nonstop. I'm just going to clarify, when you're flying business, kind of enjoy the experience of the flight, not just trying to get to your destination. And so I want to keep that in mind. So when we're looking at connections, I want you to have the right framework because when you do stop in Taipei or you do stop in Seattle, you're going to go get a check out a lounge. Maybe you never check out before. And that's kind of the fun of this. Okay. I just want to let everybody know, like, this is kind of the part of the experience. I just want to let everybody be aware.
Yeah, and I think Ben brings up a good point. I actually, this is really bad. I will choose a 25-hour itinerary over a 12-hour one if it means I get Singapore Airlines first class suites, which I actually just did this kind of itinerary, right? Because first class suites, that's a 15,000, 10 to 15,000 for like 5 hours, right? So if I can put that with points at a great deal, I'm going to get that experience. And I think that's once you have your first few business or first class flights, you'll sort of understand that. And then two, one of the ways people use Skyview for exploration purposes is, hey, if I'm going to find a great deal on business class internationally to Bangkok, for example, right? And I live in LAX, but I see this deal from Seattle to Taipei to Bangkok, I might just fly to Seattle on economy for like $100 just to book this because 85,000 points is really 850 if you want to do a 1 cent per point conversion. I would do that, right? And so once you get into familiarity with redeeming points, you'll be willing to fly to nearby airports to do it. And then some people for first class, they'll fly across the country. They'll from like LAX to New York to get that flight. Well, actually, typically it's from New York to LAX or SFO because New York is the hardest to get some flights for first class. But if
So
there's any,
Tim, for
yeah,
the sky view is major predominantly for exploration purposes because those flights might not be available, right? If it was a couple of days ago or few
yeah.
hours ago even.
Yes. So for the most popular destinations like Tokyo, for example, it's probably not available. But some of them you'll be surprised. Let's just go take a look. Let's see. This is Atmos, right? So let's just see. Alaska, is this one still available? Filter, sort by price. Probably not available. So that was for 85,000 points, right? No, not available. So that was found, yep, that was found 3 hours ago. So the way people use this is for discovery, exploration, and to see what's possible. Because now you have this idea, like most people, when you first start out, you don't know the routes for Starlux. You just know you want to fly Starlux, right? But then you can start seeing, hey, I just want only Starlux. Um, oops, give me, hold on.
By the way, FYI, everyone, if you're trying to fly and find, you need to fly out of Seattle or start looking out of Phoenix because they started flying Phoenix now. So I'm saying it used to be only in San Francisco. Like I'm in LA. I used to position to San Francisco all the time. But here's the other thing too. Sometimes I like to fly out of Burbank because if I put Burbank as a secondary city, sometimes the way that they have what they call married segment logic and they're able to connect the small airports. So it would be like Burbank into San Francisco, into Taipei, into Bangkok. So you look sometimes look at those as well. If you're looking, a lot of the search engines I will look for the larger airports, but if you're doing a manual search, sometimes look at putting out some of the smaller airports and they can be able to find. I usually find that, however, closer in. But I think if you are looking to position, it'll probably be Seattle or Phoenix moving forward.
Yeah. And you see what I just did there when I left it at 80%, and this is something you'll have to learn to get the hang of it. I only had what was this? Only a handful at 85,000 points, right? And then actually this is a lot. And then it goes to 200, 250,000, right? But when you make it go down a little bit, right, and redo it, you have more availability. Because this is a thing with Bangkok. Usually now the leg from Taipei to Bangkok's usually economy, so you're not going to find a full business for all two legs. But the most important leg you care about is from Seattle to Taipei.
Tim, is there a time of the day that you send out alerts, or is there a time of day that you send out more alerts? I guess what I'm asking is it always going to happen more in the afternoon, or should we expect some at 1 in the morning, like when we're not even awake? Like Tim, like what should we be looking for when we're looking at these alerts?
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you asked because I didn't even realize this was the question. So our alerts, once you save an alert down here and click this button, it's fully automated. So it just depends on whatever our system finds it. And we run searches pretty consistently for you. I will say um, if we really want to delve into nitty-gritty, right, during 12 p.m., during daytime, there's going to be more searches by real live humans. So we'll have more data from that. But if you're going to Asia, you'll typically get the alerts around midnight Pacific time, 9 to midnight Pacific time, because that's when Asia starts releasing. That's what I've noticed. It's not always going to be set in stone, but say for Starlux, I have seen them closer to 9 to 12 Pacific time at night.
Okay, you guys all heard that, right? So listen, if you're looking for Asia and you're looking at Starlux, start looking at your alerts at night.
And I was just, so alerts will just send it whenever you find it. So if some airlines release it at certain times, that's when you'll get the most alerts. Are there any other requests? If not, I can show you some other cool features on Skyview.
Yeah, let's take a look at some other features on
Cool.
Skyview.
So I did a search from continental US, which is 48 states, but you can search any region, right? You can search literally West Coast, US to Tokyo, for example. I'm gonna do something adventurous. I'm just gonna search.
And how far can you search out, Tim?
You can search out all 365 days, but for Pro, you can only search 30 days at a time. So here's an example, right? So we're West Coast to Tokyo. You see all SFO. You see, where is that? Seattle, LAX. This comes in really handy for people on the West Coast because they're all short hops. If you find a great deal, let's do only first class, for example, right? If you find a great deal, you'll just pop to SF, LAX. Is that right? That's a lot cheaper than I expected for Japan Airlines. And then you see Cathay. But I do want to point you out to, you see September 23rd. That is because Cathay's award window opens, I think, 360, 361 days in advance, which is a lot further along than American Airlines, than Alaska. So even though this flight, LX Tokyo Haneda, costs 135,000 points, more expensive than 80K on AA, if you wait, it may never show up on AA because someone would have booked it because Cathay releases availability for booking that far in advance. And this is the flight you want to take because I guess they didn't set the schedule for next year. So the theory is next year, this is LAX to Tokyo Haneda will be full Airbus A350, which is their brand new
New.
plane. That's the theory, at least. So that's one of the reasons why us covering Cathay, us covering BA all stand out because you can see so far in advance and know to book on those programs before anyone else. And most loyalty programs transfer to BA. Oh, that's right.
Tim,
Yeah.
is it because of transfer partner? Is that why it was low? There was
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
there was a
It's
transfer.
because Chase had the 30%
Yeah,
transfer bonus.
that's
This, yeah.
really good. Yeah. So it does cover also the transfer. So if there is a bonus, then it'll show up there as well. So folks, if you had Amex points, it would be 103, which is a normal rate. But if you transferred your Chase points right now, there's a 30% bonus if you're transferring right now to British Airways Avio, so that's why it's 79,000. So the system will account for that as well.
Yeah, our system is so automated that even I forget that we show the transfer bonus. I should have. It does say up there, doesn't it? It does. That's why it's covered. So
How soon does the system update a transfer bonus? Like, let's say, Amex announced a transfer partner bonus today. Like, how soon would that we see that in on Rome?
yeah, so that usually will be done within the day. So the actual recognizing from Amex to the system, that's still a manual process, obviously. So we just have to put it into the system, and then it'll just be set, and it'll expire automatically when expiration date hits.
Tim, is there a mobile app as well, correct?
Yes.
And is the mobile app more glitchy, or is it preferred to be on the desktop rather than the app? Is there a preference, or do people have a preference?
It really depends on what you prefer. I typically use desktop because I'm older millennial and I do all important things on a desktop. Also, you just have more screen real estate, right? But I know sometimes if you get, like, I always have the iOS app anyways because I get the notification, right? Sometimes iOS is faster than text, sometimes text is faster, sometimes emails is faster, right? For me, I just want all my bases covered because if I'm really trying to get that first class flight to Tokyo or Hong Kong or whatever, I want to get it instantly and just go on. For mobile, we have an iOS app. Definitely should try it out.
Kim, I'm confused. A few minutes ago, I think you said you could search along a far way out, but then you said, but only 30 days. Because
Yes.
I have to I'm trying to go to Bangkok with Ben,
Mhm.
and I want to fly. I live in San Francisco too, so I want to fly. I would prefer to fly SFO to Taipei and
Mhm.
then take a few days, but I have to go on like January 11th or 12th. And
So
so,
I'm sorry, I totally get it. It's on the date range, right? So you can select 30 days at a time.
so
So,
But then can
but
but so I can select 30 days, but so I could set alerts for January, even though it's now, what is this, October now? Yeah, so I can set the alert for January 11th or 12th.
yes, I'm
Okay,
super glad you asked that. We'll need to fix that because it does lead to confusion sometimes. So you can search the entire calendar, but if you
okay.
want to select the date range, it's only 30 days at a time.
I see. Now that makes sense. But that's only with Pro, right?
That's only with Pro. If you're on a free version, you have access to Skyview Lite, which is you can select only a week at a time for the first 60 days.
Tim, the flight alert, is that limited to just the Pro? Do the free get a version of that, or only the Pro version gets the flight alert search?
For the full flight alert, that is Pro only. We might release a very limited free version, like you can set alert for like a few days at a time, only within the next 60 days kind of thing, but not just yet. So right now the alerts, because we send so much, that's for Pro users only.
Okay. And is there a limit of how many alerts they can set?
Right.
Yeah, great question. So right now, Pro annual users can set 10 alerts, monthly can set five. I do want to caveat that 10 alerts sounds low, but it really depends on what you're setting it for, right? So the way we kind of want to alert is if you're going to search West Coast to Taipei and you're going to do business class for 30 days, right? That counts as one alert.
Oh,
If
wow.
you're going to
Okay.
search West Coast to East Asia and save that, that's only one alert. If you want to search United States to East Asia, that's also one alert. So um,
That is a different way to calculate it. Folks, some of the other programs out there that you may be using, they'll search an alert by the airport. So if you search two airports, that counts as two searches. Tim's saying you can search regions on his, and that's one alert still. So I think that's a major difference there.
yeah,
What about different trips though? Like Ben, um, we were talking about that. I have a lot of travel coming up to to Oceania, to Asia, to Thailand with Ben, to Oceania in April, and then to Europe in July of the same year. So I'm limited on the trips all count as separate ones, right? Any alerts I would set.
Yes. So if you're searching, if
This
you're
is
searching,
next.
yeah, yes.
Searching
We
what?
are, sorry, go ahead.
I interrupted you and I wanted to hear what you're going to say. If I'm
Oh,
going to say, for
no, no,
example,
yeah, definitely. Yes, so that would be if you're searching US to East Asia, that's one. If you're searching US to, I'm assuming Sydney for Oceania,
it's actually New Zealand.
New Zealand, Auckland.
Yeah.
So yes, that would be another alert. We are working on this. It's actually because we gave everyone too much on super alerts.
Oh,
So now it becomes a little bit of an issue. So we're working a lot on the backend system to make everything super fast so we can offer people more alerts or more ability to do that. Because you can imagine there's a lot of people searching US to East Asia or US to Europe, and that's hundreds of, if not thousands of emails and stuff every single day.
the way that I travel though, like I'm going SFO to
Mhm.
Tahiti to New Zealand. So that's like one trip for me, but would you consider those different alerts? Because that's my challenge.
If you're setting them separately, like SFO to Tahiti, is that PPT?
Yeah, PPT.
Then yes, that would be a separate alert.
That's
SFO to
fine.
PPT is one, and then
And then
PPT.
PPT to Auckland.
But this is a good feedback. Feedback on trip alerts. Okay.
So it would be two. So
Mhm.
SFO to PPT is one, and then
Mhm.
PPT to Auckland is two.
Yes.
Okay. And I only have 10. Okay.
So yes, alerts will definitely need to increase that just based on the comment you gave. I'm not gonna make any promises now, but we have increased alerts. There's one other thing I want to show you all for Skyview. It comes into play really when you're doing, say, United States to Tokyo, because that's where people usually let's just do. Let's expand it a little bit. So when you usually do this, you will see some of the cheapest flights.
Ah,
Yes. They
80,000.
also add business just to make the point here. So you see the cheapest is usually Honolulu. And most people from the 48 contiguous states don't want to fly to Hawaii to book that flight, right? So that's why we give you the continental US region to search, and then you can filter however you like. If anyone's curious about regions, you can always just go to our help center. Let me just open it for you. Help center and search regions. What regions can I use in Skyview? And I'll list out all the regions for you.
Oh, you're not done, right? Oh.
So yes, if you have questions about regions, you can always just go in here. But
Tim, quick question. If someone wanted to fly Q Suites or Etihad Apartment, would they have to know it's a 380 or 777? Like, is there a way to kind of identify that part of it?
yes, they would have to know. So I was just actually about to show you. So if they want QCs for Etihad apartments, or let's just do A350 on JL, for example.
Yeah.
Yes. But so for example, you do US and Tokyo. Um, I want first class only airlines. I'll just want Japan Airlines. And then aircraft, I'll have to do A350. And you select all of that, and you'll only get the flights and routes availability that for the A350. So it seems like, Ben, a finder tool for that kind of thing would be helpful.
Yeah, I mean it could be. I mean, next week we're gonna kind of cover with Kyle. I'm kind of gonna get into business class about different aircraft. The challenge with it is that, Emirates has a 777 and a 380. One has a game changer and the other one has a shower. So like I don't know what level of depth. I mean, unless you start putting pictures and things like that, or maybe some kind of icon with the shower or something like that, or maybe just have its own section altogether. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet how valuable or time you're going to go down that road. I mean, I don't know how much there's an interest in that. I'm sure the people who want it, there's an interest in it, but I'm not sure like if there's enough for you to develop a whole back end around it or how easy that would be for you guys to do.
Yeah, we're always trying to make Chrome easier for people to use, right? So the fact that we have to go into these filters, rather not have people do that, right? So we're definitely working on those kind of things that we just mentioned. I just want to show you guys another option. So we've all heard of Singapore Airlines suites. Um, I would just search Singapore anywhere just to find availability. And I'll do, so it's already first class, Singapore anywhere. And I know the A380 is the only plane that Singapore flies the suites on. So just filter by that. And then you'll see all the availability we found. And remember, we're the only ones that really cover KrisFlyer, Singapore Airlines loyalty program, and Singapore does not release their first class anymore to partners. You can't book it on Aeroplan, you can't book it on United. You have to book on Singapore,
Is that only for first class?
only for first class.
Business class is still can book partners.
Yes. Although you and I both know Singapore's been pretty stingy with business class releases to partners, especially Aeroplan. I don't see any of them these
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, so folks, if you want to fly Singapore, you're probably going to need Singapore KrisFlyer miles, which a lot of the banks transfer to them anyway, and it shows it there. I honestly, Tim, I don't, is this new aircraft, the aircraft filter, is this a new feature? Because I don't recall it. Maybe I missed it before. It's always been there.
I think we haven't checked in for a while. We added it about early this year.
Okay.
So like January, February timeframe.
And that's a unique feature. I honestly, because I can't think of another program that has that as a feature there. So that's a really cool feature to have. Because like when I fly American, I know the plane that I want to fly, and I will avoid Phoenix and avoid Charlotte just because they fly certain planes. I'll just like try to avoid them completely.
Yeah. Yes. So when you know the plane types and the only plane types fit, you can really narrow down to like Singapore Airlines suites. I'm not sure Etihad apartments can only be narrowed down with plane. I think you also do routes specific as well, right? And Q suites, they always switch their planes. So it's always a maybe, but certain routes and plane types almost always has Q suites.
Okay. Pablo wants to know, what do you suggest for searching Air France flights on business class, or is there any sweet spots when you book them with Japan airline miles? So yeah, we've been seeing this Air France with the Japan, these star-crossed lovers, multi-alliance here. Is there a sweet spot to use Air France Flying Blue miles on Japan airline or Japan airline miles to use to book Air France? Have you seen anything about that?
So I will say I'm not as familiar with Japan Airlines. The Capital One's the first, I believe it's Capital One's the first transfer part is a
Second.
si- second
Yeah,
after.
Bill did it
Oh, okay.
first.
I usually don't count as build as much. People don't have as much points there, but yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So with Capital One built, right, you have JAL. But I'm not as familiar because their website's a little harder to use. I think they're trying to make it friendlier now. Um, but I will say of the redemptions on JAL that I've seen on Fly and Blue, they're usually not competitive with even a BA or Cathay, for example. So, and BA, basically every credit card point transfers to them or to one of their partners, then you can transfer to them. So, it may just make sense to use BA. Plus, BA has a I think wider award calendar release than Flying Blue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do. Can I ask you, what about Finnair? I have a bunch of Finnair's miles. I kid you not, Tim, I have a 500,000 Finnair miles. Is Finnair on anyone's,
Yeah, I
uh,
mean, we do cover Finnair. So let's see what we have here. Where do you want to go? Let's just do
anywhere I can use them?
United States. Well,
I'm open to using them wherever.
you probably just
I
use,
had a lot of flights between Bangkok and Helsinki. That's where I was able to find a year out all the
that's
time.
pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's like a lot of 63,000 miles from Bangkok to Helsinki because I have to pack for two weathers when
yeah.
I come to Helsinki.
One way to use them is for Helsinki, right? That's their home airport. You can use them for Tokyo. Um, let's see what we have for Helsinki. Yeah.
Yes. Let's see here. Shubha wants to know what is the best tip that you have for rebooking if we already booked one out? Do you have any tips on rebooking flights if we already had booked out a flight? Are we talking about a schedule change, Shuba? I'm not sure what we're talking about. Or are you talking about changing the flight into a new flight? Like maybe what your question?
No, like, if we book a year out, how, is it setting a specific alert? How do people rebook once the point, if they find a better deal, whether it is, different aircraft or different cabin, um, however it is.
No, that's a great question. So I think there's two questions in one. I think one, when you're usually booking a year out, you are going for the best deal. Because that's what you're doing. You're planning a year out. You know exactly when that loyalty program is going to release that flight for that airline. This usually happens to Japan Airlines first class. It can Yeah, that's actually usually the one where people usually book, or ANA first, because those are the most popular flights. So you know you're going to get the best deal because you know when it's going to release and who you're going to book it with. Now, the other questions may be, hey, you have a change of plans. Then we can go into the details like, hey, which programs is it better or not for you to book there? So most of the US programs, I don't even say that. The rules are so complicated, but in large part, the US airlines don't charge as much cancellation or no cancellation fees for canceling an award booking. Now, there's some obviously complications, like Alaska charges some fee if you book a partner flight, but it's very minimal. So I think it's like $25, something like that. So US airlines are the best for cancellation fees, but they're not the best for value, except for Alaska and maybe American Airlines.
Right. I always keep, and Shuba, I always keep Alaska miles on hand and American miles on hand, especially when I fly into a country one way. If I'm flying into a country one way, and sometimes I arrive and I'm like, they want my return flight. I don't have one. I literally pull out my AA miles and I'll book a flight out like immediately, like on the spot, because I know I can cancel for free, and then I'll show it to them, and then they go, okay, and they let me in.
Yeah.
And that's also good for passports when you got to go do emergency and they're like, oh, I need to see your flight, you're leaving. Pull out my American miles, I use it. So I always have a stash of American Alaska miles just for that reason only. Even if you never use them, they're like I call American the insurance policy. They're like an insurance policy you can use all the time. And then I'll cancel and get it back for free. So I use it for what I need it for, and I sometimes I book it for my wife or my daughter. They have to fly in a country, and I don't know. I haven't found that great flight back yet. And then I'll just use that for that purpose. But that's how you can use those tickets as well.
Yeah, and let's just take a look at some of the international airlines, right? So Air France or Air Canada, BA, Cathay, right? Usually the cancellations for these are around $50 to $100 per ticket, assuming you're booking the Saver Award fare. So it's not that bad if you just have a change of plans, right? It's not great paying $50 to $100, but it's not like some airlines. Actually, I don't know any airline that will charge you hundreds of dollars to cancel when you're booking on points. But I will call out Avianca for their customer service can be actually really good or really not so good. And so you just use the method, hang up and call again if things really aren't working. So usually when booking with Avianca, it's a little bit difficult to cancel or change flights. It may take you a couple hours. And the other one is Iberia. I think Iberia actually is one of the few that charges you over 100 or a few hundred to cancel a flight. But yeah, where else do you all want to go? We can just do searches live and just walk through any questions.
I want to give some other people a chance. Does anyone else have who hasn't spoken yet? Gene said Bhutan. Are we serious, Gene? Tim, Gene's trying to get to all 100 countries. That's why. So
Which country is this?
Bhutan. I'm not
Oh,
sure. I know the country, but I don't know what the capital is. I know they're
Bhutan.
the happiest place in the world, and the king and queen of Thailand flew into Bhutan, which is one of the hardest airports to fly out of because they're like high up the mountains. And he like flew his own plane out because he used to be in the Air Force. So like there's this video of the king and queen flying like a big superliner flying out of the Bhutan airport recently.
Let me see. This is definitely not going to be covered by a usual Skyview because it's not top 6,500, but let's just do LAX. I don't know. I've never done this search before, so we'll see if we get anything here. And keep in mind, once you get into smaller international, let me see if I can tag, yeah. Once you get into smaller planes and countries, they may not have a loyalty connection. So instead of using just Bhutan, for example, right? Bangkok Airways, the only way to really get into Phuket or Koh Samui,
Oh, Kamui,
right?
yeah.
You're not going to be able to book that using points all the way through, right? You can probably book it to Bangkok or you can book to Phuket on like Qatar Airways, but not on Bangkok Airways, for example.
But you know, Tim, Bangkok Airways, which is my favorite airline in Thailand, is actually partners with Cathay in Japan. So you can actually earn JAL and Cathay miles when you fly Bangkok Airways.
Oh, wow. I know they had some partners, but
They also have Etihad as well.
are you
They
able
have
to
some
book?
they have a few. They have a few good ones.
Well, let me see. Are you able to book them?
I don't think you can. I think they're more for earnings. But I'm sorry. I actually you can. I tried transferring a bunch to Etihad so I can book British Bangkok Airways, and then I made the mistake of not realizing how much taxes Etihad charges for, for the tick. The points were low. The points were low, but the taxes were high enough that I said I should just book the cash ticket.
Yes. But this is actually a good point for me to talk about some limitations of Skyview, right? So we just searched, just to be fully upfront, we just searched some of the more esoteric routes that people don't search for as much. So Skyview is not going to automatically cover that. But if you're a pro member and you want to search LAX to Phuket, all you have to do is set your filters, create an alert. And once you do that, create an alert, we'll start automatically searching that route, even though it's not covered in the 6,500. So basically, any pro users can add any route as long as they save it to their alerts.
Tim, if my destination is not a direct flight, let's say, I don't know, Canary Islands in Spain, that I do have to have a stopover somewhere. But so when I set the alert, do I have to set it to an airport which is a direct flight from here? Like in this example, Lisbon, Madrid, wherever.
No, we cover nonstop, we cover one stop, all those stops. So the best way, where are you based, by the way?
New York.
New York, right? So I would just do NYC to Lisbon, for example, right? You can do a nonstop, you can do a one stop. I would just set your max points, max
No,
fees.
my question is for a smaller place in Spain that does not have direct flights. So how do I set alerts to that? Do I, or
So
am I able to?
you definitely are. So Canary Islands, let me just take a look. Canary Islands Airport. So as long as they're serviced by a loyalty program that covers that, so that would be
Oh, okay. That may not be the case.
right.
I don't know.
So it just depends. I'm not sure LPA is going to be covered by
No, I don't. I think that TFE is one of the codes, one
TFE.
of the island. Yeah.
Let's just search TF.
No? Oh, maybe I'm wrong with the airport code then.
Let me
Uh,
know. Uh,
Tenerife, I think.
Tenerife. Oh, that's definitely an airport. Let me
Might be
get the
TE.
code.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, what did you say the code was?
I have to look up. I don't know, Tim.
DFS.
It might
TFS.
be
TF.
TE. Yeah.
Okay.
DFS.
Thank you.
TFS.
DFS.
Yeah, that's the one.
I doubt we're gonna have anything, but let's just see. Oh, okay, we do. So this is the beauty of Skyview, right? Someone's obviously saved this and it's become a flight that we have, right? So let's just see.
Hmm.
This one's not bad, but I'm not sure you want to go to
I don't
um
want to fly for 20 hours.
you want to go to Morocco or Casablanca in Morocco to go to Tenerife, right? But it is business, and I've heard decent things about Royal Air Morocco.
Yeah, my buddy
Yeah,
flew. It was
yeah.
pretty good.
So let's just lower the fees because you're probably not going to take any of the BA flights. Let's just see what's available. Hmm. Oh, this one's interesting. There you go. Right, but this was found out a day ago. So if you set alert from JFK to
Mm-hmm.
TFS, we would have sent you this alert. 50,000 points, Air France business class from JFK to Paris to Tenerife.
Okay. Thank you. That's very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Because
just
some of the tools I've used, I can only set alert if it's a direct flight.
exactly. Yeah, this is one of the
Yeah.
things I need to call out more is just you can set it for any airport pair. As long as it's covered by one of our loyalty programs, and you save it as alert, we'll start searching it for you. It doesn't matter if it's non-stop, one stop, two stop, etc.
Excellent. Thank you.
For that example, is it two different airlines or only if it's the same airline all the way through?
It just depends. So how the way it works, right? So you're saving an alert for New York, NYC to TFS. And we're going to be searching on our different loyalty programs. So all these 27, and whatever results they show us. So if this was JFK to CDG on American, that doesn't make sense, on Delta, and then CDG to TFS on Air France, and you can book it on Flying Blue and Air France, then we'll show it. We won't be able to show you things where we're mixing and matching. Like let's just say JFK to Paris is you redeem with Delta miles, but Charles de Gaulle to TFS redeeming with United miles. Like we're not going to show you that kind of pair.
Okay.
It needs to be bookable with the same mileage program. They were not going to mix two different mileage programs to make it. I see. Okay. Tim, can they do multiple or multi-city search, or it can only be point A to point B? I guess maybe that's that last
Yeah.
question.
That is a limitation. We do not have multi-city. That's why we have granularity into regions, right? So you can do West Coast was the uh, example, right? That's most of the cities you care about are LA from the West Coast, right? For the best deals, LAX, San Diego, San Francisco, Oakland, SJC, as well as Seattle.
Um, can we also? I know there's some things that we never ever get. Can we take a look at guides and tools? Are there anything on the guides or tools that we should maybe take a look at next time when we're up there, and maybe we're not looking for.
Um, well, the only thing maybe I should highlight hotels first.
Sure.
But I know we're at time. Let me give you one thing. So if you just uh, you can just Google current transfer bonuses, but let's just like actually you're
Right over now, so I
great.
just have to see the
Uh,
recording.
Sorry.
so if you go into guides, click the first guide, it's current transfer bonuses. We keep this all up to date. So you can just see everything all in one spot, very easily digestible, start date and date for all the current transfer bonuses.
Okay.
But let's take a look at hotels. This is still out in beta. We currently cover Hyatt, Marriott, and Hilton. We'll be adding the other, I think three or four pretty soon as well, but people mostly use hotel points for Hyatt. So this is all cash, meaning this is what we found and we've saved it down. So let's just try Paris. Paris, France. So how it works is you search a destination, you search a check-in date range, and then you choose how many nights you want to stay in there. And then you can just use this view, scroll down however you like, or you can click in here, which will go to the specific loyalty program. Let's see if we can go Park Hyatt, Vendome. Yeah, it's a little surprising. Let's see if Park Hyatt, Tokyo. I know they should definitely have some things. There we go. So that'll pull up the calendars of when we have availability, right? So you have all, it's category 8, Hyatt, address, and then this calendar, you can say this was updated a day ago, and you can just scroll through it for which days have what availability. and click into
Um,
it.
when you have that tab to the top right where it says all room types, what happens when you click that?
Yes. So if you only care about suites, you can filter by that.
Is that usually a bookable suite with points, Tim? Is that
Mhm.
what it is? Okay.
You can see the cash price as well.
I know it's still in beta, but do you plan to tell us like if it's an entry level suite that we could book or is that beyond what can be pulled?
Oh, it tells you. What do you mean? So you can.
You know how you can only book like an entry level base suite with a like a suite upgrade sometimes award. I was wondering if it's going to be able to offer that aspect of it.
So are you talking about
Like a suite
suite
certificate, suite
upgrade?
upgrade certificate. You can only use it on base rooms, otherwise you can't use it. Although with points you can book anything if they allow it, but with suite certificates, usually only the base room certain
So
suites.
typically, okay, so I haven't gone for Hyatt specifically, I haven't gotten to the upgrade certificates, but typically with Hyatt, which is unlike Marriott, they only give you the two base type of suites to book with points anyways. So
Right.
I would assume that this Park Deluxe suite and Park Suite, so I think Park Deluxe is better than Park Suite, are both available for upgrade certificates as well.
Okay.
But don't keep me to it. I just know they're
Sure.
both for 40K points.
Okay. I'm gonna finish with one last one. I think Mormor asked if we go back to city, Scotland to from the West Coast to Scotland in September. Any dates in September, but West Coast to Scotland. Can we see what pops up typically?
Scotland. Is that Bristol Airport?
Yeah.
Edinburgh? I'm just gonna put Scotland.
And Gene asked, can you do East Coast, Eastern Europe, Southeast Asia? Is that like its own region as well when we do searches?
Yes, you can't do East Coast because well, we're gonna add East Coast specifically. We can do Mid England, sorry, New England, Mid
Mid-Atlantic?
Atlantic,
Yeah.
uh, South. You can do Midwest, all of that. Um, I'm not sure September is the best time right now, just because availability is still getting released right now. So let me just expand it. Let's see if there's anything for Scotland. See, Scotland Airport. What's the most EDI? Okay, so there is some, but not for September just yet. It to whoever asked the question, it could also just be we don't West Coast to EDI is not a top airport in Skyview, so they're not fully covered. So I would just save and I would just save like SFO or LAX to EDI, for example, and we'll start tracking it for you. The other way to do it is just let's just see. LAX, EDI, on live search. And then let's go September 1st, plus or minus 3 days. So now we're searching live. Let's just see what we pull up live.
So Tim, just from a practical use, should they start at Pro? I mean, sorry, should they start at Skyview and then go to what is the suggested best way to start when they're doing a search?
Oof. That depends on person. I would say for a beginner or someone just getting the hang of this, um, I would use Skyview to discover to see what's available. That's the main purpose as a beginner. You can really delve into it and go many layers deep. And I would use live search for point to point and seeing what's available in real time. Because usually what happens is if someone starts with live search, and they want to go business class to Europe or Asia, you might just see what we just saw, right? 400K points, 200K points. And then you get discouraged because you're like, hey, just nothing's available. But you should actually be looking at Skyview to see, hey, we found something as low as 75,000 points within the last 4 days. So it means it's possible, right? So now you know it's possible. So now you're more motivated to come back and search more, or just know it's possible. So you'll have that in the back of your mind.
Yeah, that is the biggest challenge I think for new people when they're first starting a search anywhere is they know where they're starting and they know what their destination is, but they're not always finding that availability. So what what the Skyview will do for everyone is give you that other option, those other possibilities. And now you'll actually see, oh, that option means that that is 85,000, it's 90,000, it's 70,000, which now says, okay, that does exist. That's what I'm looking for. Now you can set your alert correctly because you're not just coming up with some random number now. Now you've actually seen it. And I like to do this too, Tim. I like to just go close in, like 2 weeks and like to, or a week in, and like, what does it look like if I were to fly next week? And so that I usually use that as an indicator as well.
Yeah. And you'll notice a lot more recently, some of the best deals come out within 1 week or 2 weeks of travel. And if you're trying to fly Lufthansa first class using Airplan, it comes out within 3 days of your departure dates. So yeah, they make it hard.
I know it used to be 2 weeks. Nowadays, I'm looking more like a week or less now. Sometimes I'm looking now like that. Um, Tim, I think we're about toward the end, but I have my code up. Shuba wants to know, is there any special discounts or programs or anything coming up soon that we should that or today that they can take advantage of if they want to sign up
Yeah.
for the Pro?
Well, let me just create the code, but you can use Ben30. I don't know if I can put that in chat for 30% off the first month
Ooh.
or first year. Let me just create the code now. And yeah, let me know if you have any other questions. Otherwise, super awesome being here, answering everyone's questions.
Does anyone have any other final question before we wrap up? It doesn't have to be a search engine, but just kind of in general. Anyone? Has this been great? I thought this has been great, Tim. I thought it was been really super helpful. Helps us give a better idea on how the tool. And folks, you have the man who put the program together right here with us. So I'm so excited how you. Thank you so much, Tim, for joining. By the way, Tim, I am doing a meetup at the end of the month in San Francisco, your hometown, our first time we've done a West Coast. So I'd love to invite you if you can be able
Yes,
to join.
please invite me.
I will. We'll invite.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, we got our first celebrity, everyone, for the meetup. We're actually doing a Halloween dinner, and then we're gonna go for a Halloween ghost tour in Square. Then on Saturday, we're doing like Chinatown in the afternoon after we use our edit credit and our FHR credit at our various hotels, and then we're gonna have dinner using our Resi credit. I'm gonna take you guys to a Thai place that I like and we'll go from there. So,
Is it place
Tim,
Xenia?
which one?
Is it Xenia?
It's not because I'm sticking to Resi ones right now, but there are. By the way, there are some great Thai restaurants. My uncle and aunt used to own one up in Nob. What is it? Not Nob Hill. What's the name of that other? I think Nob Hill. She used to
Russian
be,
Hill.
no, I think it was Nob Hill or there's other. Is there another hill? Is there another
There's
hill up
seven
there?
hills.
What is it?
There's 7 hills in SF.
Potrero Hill.
Telegraph Hill, Potrero Hill, Russian Hill.
I want to say it's Nob Hill. I want to say it's Nob
Well,
Hill.
Nob Hill's right near Union Square.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they used to
not
own.
the Mark Hopkins and the Fairmont.
So there's okay. So when we greet each other in Thailand, we say Sawat Di. My cousin's last name is Sawat Di. Like I don't know anybody else whose last name is what we greet each other with. So they named the restaurant Sawat Di, which is and it was that was also their last name. So and they were in business for like 35, 40 years, and then they just recently retired and sold the restaurant. So no more, but we will have we'll have a great time. Tim, I'd love for you to come out. I have I think about 10 of us out there, and I'll bring my family up there as well. So I'd love to have you.
Yeah, no, I'd love to join.
Absolutely. Okay, we'll talk afterward. So Lucinda, you can mark one more down.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you're keeping the list, Ben.
I'm keeping the list. I'm keeping the list.
You have to tell me when I start making reservations.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Tim. I appreciate you joining us for sure. It is wonderful to have you. Thank you for showing us the tool. If there's any questions anyone has, feel free. How can they, should they join your Rome community too on Facebook? Tim, do you want to drop that link in there if they have any?
Let me drop that link. We have a Word Travel group on Facebook that you can join, ask questions. Awesome. But otherwise, it's great meeting you all. Excited to see some of you in, I guess, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So I'll follow up with you on that, Ben.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone. Have a good night. Folks, don't forget, next week we have, oh, let me pull up the schedule here. So we have, next week we have Ariana Arngale. We're going to talk from Points Chaser. We're going to talk about skip lagging, the taboo topic of skip lagging. We're going to talk about that. And then the week after that, I'm sorry, the Thursday right after that, we are having, actually, I take it back. I'm going to change the schedule next week. Next week is not Tuesday. Next week, the bonus session is on Wednesday. So it will be Ariana's going to be coming on Wednesday. Thursday is going to be Kyle Olson from CNN. We're going to cover the aircrafts and recognizing, not necessarily recognizing the aircraft, but knowing what the aircraft and what they offer. So we'll talk about Airbus 350s and 787 Dreamliners and 321s and things like that. So we'll talk about that on Thursday. And then Friday, we have another bonus session on a Friday. So we do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week. If you can come to all, we'll have Professor Points will be joining us. We'll talk about finding cheaper domestic flights. So it's going to take it more domestic next week. So next week is stacked again, once again for next week. Thank you again for everyone. We will see you, and I'll send out the schedule. And if you came late for the class, shame on you. How can you miss Tim? But we will have a recording, so you guys can go back and watch the recording afterward. Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Will you mail out the recording? Email it out?
Yes, it'll go to everyone who's registered.
Okay,
And if
great.
you're in the mentorship too, you'll get it in the school. I'll also put it in school, but I also email it out, okay?
So I just signed up today from an Instagram post. I don't know
Oh,
anything about your
who's this?
regular classes.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry, who is this?
I'm Linda Ramsey.
Oh, Linda. Okay, well, welcome, Linda. Why don't you stay a little bit afterward and I'll talk to you.
Okay, great.
Don't leave. I'll talk to you after you're done.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Just hang in tight, Linda. One second, Linda. I just kind of, I think I just asked who else is here. Okay.